Great.
Good.
Everyone's good and everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Wow, it's a little quiet on here today. Where is everyone?
I mean, do you really want me to speak, Ryan?
I Chance, I'm always blessed and encouraged when you open your mouth. Let me hear it.
Not a whole lot. Just wanted to say hi to everyone out there. And quick little housekeeping message. Matt is actually going to be heading out on vacation for his 10-year anniversary on Wednesday. So if you all need any support, I got your back and I got you covered. And that's really all. That's nothing special. The mortgage industry is really boring right now.
Is
There's
it?
nothing really exciting going on over here. I mean, we've seen some pickups going on in applications a little bit. There's been some positive movement yesterday in rates, which was good. But really, we want to see these kind of climb into a little bit more of an ideal zone. But nonetheless, we are just doing our thing over here and just supporting you all as always.
Well, we appreciate you. Well, let's get started on our presentation today. And who has a shout out from the summit? Somebody tell me something good.
Hey Ryan, it's Russ.
Yeah.
I'm in an airport stuck, but I wanted to say thanks to Chance. Chance got another one of my kids approved to buy a home. Our family is single-handedly working to bring down the age of first-time home buyers. So my 22-year-old's about to close, and Chance did a great job with a what was the day? Chance Saturday morning or
Yeah.
Saturday afternoon pre-qual and pre-approval and all that kind of stuff. So thanks, Chance. I also wanted to say thanks to all of you who got to the AI event in Silverthorne last week. I think it was pretty awesome. I took tons of notes and my head is still spinning a bit.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that
And
was a
I've
great
got a
event.
shout out for something good too. One of our agents, some of you know or don't know Sam Malloy, but he brought a buyer to one of my listings recently, and he's got a $3.7 million listing that he's bringing to the market, and he started with us um, a year ago, and he's really been an up and coming success, and I'm really proud of him. I talked to him yesterday, and this is just a message that we all want to put into our hearts and our minds, that when you do the work and you put in the effort and you do it with strategy, you will win. So use him as an encouragement. Very proud of him. Who else has something good?
I do. Eric and I made our way over to Estes Park yesterday to catch up with our folks over there. We got to meet some new agents that have been with us for between a week and I would say 4 or 5 months. So, uh, the welcome that Jeff Abel and Chris Davis provide for everybody in that office. It's just what Keller Williams is about, and I'm very thankful for everybody there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. One more shout out. One more, give me a shout out of something good that's going on.
I'm getting married.
Ariel is getting married. And the wedding's on Friday, Marielle?
Thursday, Philippine time, June 18. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
I want to jump in on
Well,
that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan, can I jump in on something there?
Yes.
So to give you all a sense of who Marielle is, she texted me 2 days ago, the text that said, "Hey, is it okay if I have a light day on Thursday because I'm getting married?" She wants to take part of the day off. So I said, Marielle, how about you just take the whole day off? In fact, since Juneteenth is the next day, you can have Friday off too to celebrate getting married. So you don't have to worry about the details of the financials at the market centers getting delayed because of Marielle's wedding. She's on it. So thank you, Marielle, for always being great.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
That's right. Thank you, Marielle. Okay, Base Camp Buzz events that are coming up. We have Mondays and Thursdays Breakthrough
Oof,
the
you
Accountability Group at 9 a.m. Zoom, Frisco, and Edwards office. And then weekly on Tuesday, our productivity coaching with Katie Briggs from 1 to 2 p.m. at our Frisco office and in Zoom. And of course, we have our lift every Tuesday at 9:15. Weekly on Wednesday, contracts with Rod Fishkin, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. in person at the Edwards office, and KW Cares coaching call with Mo Anderson watch party at the Frisco office, June 24th at 10 a.m. Who's attending that? Leslie, have you got anyone signed up? What does that look like right now? You're on mute, and I know you're driving, so we can.
Yeah, I'm driving. I'm gonna have to defer to Marielle because I can't see the RSVPs.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, that
Yep.
that call is for everyone
Yep.
because both market centers raised well over $1,000 during CARES Month. We are all invited to coaching with Mo. That's a little typo. Both market centers will have that at 10 a.m. And I want to encourage you to come and learn from her. She's our former CEO. She's been our cultural queen for decades, and don't miss this experience with her.
Got it.
And I would encourage our other business centers and IMAO offices to also stream this in your buildings, and encourage the people who are working in your offices to come and watch together.
Thank you, Leslie. Hi, a Mile High Market Brief with Russ and Charles. This is a industry-wide update every Monday at 12 p.m. And raise of hands who's joined this call, but this is fantastic information that dives deep in what's going on in the economy of real estate. And I encourage you, and something that we're going to talk about at the end of the presentation today is about having impactful conversations. And in order to have competent, impactful conversations with our clients, future clients, customers, members of the public, friends, family, etc., we have to have market information. So don't miss this call on Monday. This is also in our base camp email that goes out, and the link is provided. Stop marketing like every other agent. Register for Patrick Ferry's event. This is coming up in 2 days, 1 p.m., Colorado region via Zoom. In this 90 minutes, you are going to learn about the right way to tell the story and to market, and how AI creates a full campaign from one service in under 10 minutes and using StoryBrand. And I think Russ, you had talked about StoryBrand a little bit last week. The author is Donald Miller, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's Donald
Yes,
Miller.
that's it.
Yep, it's Donald Miller. And then Simon Sinek, keynote speaker at Mega Camp. Who's going to Mega Camp? Use the QR code and register. And Wednesday, August 19th, he is going to be the keynote speaker. This is a great opportunity to network and learn from the best in our business, and a great recruiting tool. And Leslie and I are going to do everything we can to get recruits to this event. So register today to find your path of opportunity. Rocky Mountain Summit, we've been talking about this for 6 months now, and we're going to continue to talk about it. September 23rd to 25th, right here in our backyard at the Height. Do not miss this event. This is right here. I promise you, if you take advantage of this, you are going to learn valuable information on how to grow your life, to live your big life, and to grow your real estate business. And Sahil Bloom is going to be our keynote speaker. He wrote the book, The Five I read the book. It was great. The Five Paths to Wealth, something like that. And he just talks about that it's not about just your bank account. Making money and having financial security is nice, but there's also your spiritual well-being, your relationships, your physical fitness and wellness. And this is going to be a great opportunity to hear from him. We're going to have amazing breakout session events, after hour parties, etc. And I think, Russ, we need to talk about having some sort of golfing event, mountain biking
Yes.
event, something. Let's keep that on our minds as we approach this, and it's coming around the corner soon. So let's talk about that now. And so register for this. Let's make this a big event. And also, too, on the call, this is a great recruiting opportunity for Leslie and I. If you know agents who would like to attend this event, get with Leslie and I as soon as possible and keep that communication open with us so that we can get the right recruits to this event to show them what Keller Williams brand is all about and to show them how we host events at a high level. Okay, recognition from our top agents for the month of May. Recognition: Tony Giacconi, top individual enclosed volume and GCI at 12 million. Way to go, Tony. $330,000 of GCI. Signature home team. Number 2, top team in closed units and 6 units. Top team in closed volume at 4 million. And top in number 2 in GCI at 124,000. The Skinner team, number 5 group in closed volume at 7.8 million and 149 GCI, putting them in the 9th place for GCI in groups. And then the Fishkin team right here in our office, number 3 in top team in closed units, number 5 at 5 total units, and number 4 top team in closed volume at 3.7 million. Way to go, Rod and Rebecca. Great job, guys. And then, so today, I am going to be talking to you. We're going to jump ahead into the meat of our presentation here on the lift. And I was thinking about this recently. There have been several agents in both market centers at top of the Rockies and Mountain Properties who have had conversations with me in the last 6 weeks about not knowing exactly what to do when they get a buyer or a seller, how to have conversations, the right questions to ask, how to frame the interaction with our database clients we currently have or interested parties who want to buy or sell real estate. And even though this is titled Winning Listings, I think this is really relevant to listings. But I want you to take what I'm going to discuss today. These strategies work with buyers as well. There's some different things that I'm gonna share with you as it relates to buyers. The cornerstone of winning with our real estate business is having an architecture of trust. And I want you to consider these 4 pillars to elevate your presentation, how you have conversations in the public, whether you're having dinner with a client, you're out playing golf with them, and to use these techniques, ladies and gentlemen, to help you close high stake properties and to win. And we're going to talk about the leadership paradox, where on one hand, we have inflexible dogma where we're structured and rigid in our thought process, our communication style, and techniques, where on the other end of the spectrum we have directionless accommodation. And this is what made me think about how I win and how our top agents in our offices and how top agents in Keller Williams win when we have conversation. And when we talk about directionless accommodation, it's not knowing what we don't know and not even knowing where to begin to have the conversations. And we want to draw that anchor right in the middle of having adaptable certainty that when we have conversations, we are able to navigate with them to demonstrate the right strategy, to understand the specifics of what we're talking about, and to maintain a center of reference in our certainty with some adaptability and how we can be certain, especially right now in an unpredictable market. Russ and I were talking this morning. We're in a tough time. We're in a tough time with recruitment. We're in a tough time with transactions. I spoke to Will yesterday. The usual suspects who are usually closing properties on the regular, our businesses are slower right now. My business is slower. We are having some challenge and opportunity here. And because we're in this challenging time, we need to be very certain with how we communicate to build trust with people in our database, in our sphere of influence, on social media, the content that we're putting out. We have to have a strategy. We can't just wing it and hope and pray for the best. We need to make sure that what we're talking about has this certainty. So, this is the blueprint for constructing the house of trust. There are 4 things that you need to understand and you need to critically recognize when you communicate with your buyers and sellers or members of the public on how to build this house of trust. Number 1 pillar is confidence and strategy. The second pillar is market knowledge. We need to have good listening skills. Not only good listening skills, we need to have excellent, highly curated listening skills that I will talk about with you today. And we also need to have deep authenticity with our communication. And when we talk about confidence and strategy, this is what grounds our buyers and sellers when we talk to them. We have to be able to communicate in an effective way that guarantees that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they understand that we know what we're talking about and what we say to be true. And we need to be able to structurally frame the data in a specific hyper-focused market. We have to be able to frame the data because the data doesn't lie, and that really grounds the confidence that we bring for them to understand exactly what's happening in their market, the neighborhood where their home is, the neighborhood where they're shopping for a home. We have to understand the market, and we're going to talk more in detail. And then listening skills, the mechanics of client alignment. It is pivotal that we listen and that we don't interrupt them when they speak, and we seek to understand exactly what they're telling us and then frame it back to them so that they understand that we have heard what they said and that we're able to take the information that they have said to create the strategy. And then finally, authenticity, the binding human connection, where we are dropping the sales pitch, we are not commission focused, and we are relationship focused, regardless of what the outcome is. So let's talk about structural framing and data-driven insights over opinion. Opinions are subjective. They will not stand up to argument, and they always invite pushback. Where when we have data-driven insights, they are objective and clear, they're authoritative, and it positions us as the consultant in the discussion. You don't need to know everything about the broad economy, but you must possess absolute mastery over the specific market your seller is in. For example, I had an agent once ask me how to find information about general HOA dues within within many HOAs across our MLS. And the problem with that is you can have all the data and all of the information about HOAs in a neighborhood, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't have a buyer or seller that's interested in that HOA. I was telling Brett in our office not too long ago, we don't, right now, I don't specifically know what homes are selling for on Forest Road in Vale as a price per square footage. They're probably 2,500, 3,000. I don't know. And it doesn't matter that I don't know because I don't right now have buyers and sellers that are interested in purchasing or selling a home on Forest Road. Now, the buyers and sellers that I currently have, I know exactly what their homes are selling for in that neighborhood as a price per square footage. I know exactly what price adjustments to make when I do a CMA based on that specific neighborhood. And I know exactly what's going on within their HOA communities, what their assessments are, what if they don't have assessments, what kind of deferred maintenance they have. I have an understanding of the neighborhood dynamics. Do the neighbors get along? Are there short-term rentals in that neighborhood? Are there families in that neighborhood? Are these primary, secondary homes? So when it gets down to understanding the data in a specific neighborhood, put your time and effort into those neighborhoods when you have specific buyer or seller needs for that neighborhood. It will help streamline your time and your effectiveness when it comes to having these conversations. Okay, the diagnostic matrix. So we talk about diagnosing what is going on in a specific market. We need to understand leading indicators, lagging indicators. When we go back to the objectivity of the data, it doesn't matter what a seller believes their home is worth. It doesn't matter what a buyer believes that they're willing to pay for a home. The only two things that matter is what is currently going on in that marketplace. And the only way to know what a home is really worth is what somebody is willing to pay for that home. A home is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. And how do they come up with what they're willing to pay? More often than not, most often than not, the metric is the closed data. Even though it's a lagging indicator of what's happened in the rear view, it's historical, it reflects past buyer behavior, and it establishes a baseline floor of the market. Now, something that's really important to understand when you're having a listing appointment or you're talking to a buyer, that closed sales data is only relevant if it is within a few weeks to a few months of what's going in the market. You can look at closed data a year ago, but raise of hands, is a year ago representative of what's happening today? Who uses data from a year ago when we have 630 properties on the market right now as of June 16th? What happened a year ago has no indication on what's happening today. And the pending sales are a leading indicator. This is a windshield that we look forward to. It's real time and it reflects current market velocity, predicts trajectory, and dictates immediate pricing strategy. Here's what I know. Oftentimes, when you have a listing and it's sitting on the market, it's not selling, and there are other pendings in that neighborhood that are comparable, use this strategy to call those listing agents and attempt to get information from them on what that home's going to close for. oftentimes they will tell you. Quick story. Back in January, I had a buyer looking at two penthouses at the Westin. And this penthouse was on the market for 335, and the other one was on the market for 800,000. And we couldn't view the property. And the reason we couldn't view it is because those Westins are true condotels where they are rented to hotel guests all throughout the winter. And this property was everything that the client wanted. It was everything that the client wanted. Top floor unit, 3 bedrooms, exceptional views of Beaver Creek, but we could not see it. We had to just look at the Matterport, the photos on the MLS. And this strategy helped, it sealed the deal to close him as a buyer. An agent called me in our MLS and said, don't use my name, but Tom Dunn has a 3 bedroom that is off market and is pending right now and is going to close in a few weeks. And I had the client at Hovey and Harrison, and we were having coffee, and I called Tom Dunn and I said, Tom, listen, I understand you have an off-market unit in the West End that's also a 3 bedroom and it's going to close in a few weeks. Is that right? He goes, absolutely. I said, I understand that you don't have to tell me what it's going to close for, but I have a buyer that would like to take a run at unit 907. And we'd really like some insight on what that's going to close for. He's like, I'm happy to tell you what it's going to close for. It's going to close for 375, and unit 907 is superior in every way from views, the layout, the furnishings, etc. And that seller is leaving money on the table. And my buyer heard that when I had the phone sitting on speaker and the client said, let's write a full price offer right now, cash, and get it done. And we put it under contract. And when that pending home sold, that seller recognized that they had left money on the table. My buyer got a deal, and the seller missed out and left money on the table. So the pending sales is use that strategy to figure out how you can make adjustments in the market in real time. Pricing trajectory, we can lead the market or we can chase the market. And we're always looking to start at an optimal, realistic price point. And how do we come up with that price point? It's because we understand the hyper-focused market data that demonstrates our knowledge with confidence that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt what that home ought to sell for if we understand the closed sales that were most recent and the pending sales that are leading up to a closing in the future. And this conversation today isn't about pricing strategy. We're going to talk about this here in a moment when we get into the authenticity piece, but we have to be able to price those homes based on the closed data and the pending knowledge right away to get an effective outcome. This is absolutely critical when we are having conversations with our buyers and our sellers. We need to practice the art of slowing down. The golden rule is to always seek to understand before seeking to advise. I'm going to say this again. We have to slow the conversations down. This is so important. If we speak quickly, abruptly, we will cause uncertainty with our buyers and our sellers. If we are anxious and we are uncertain of ourselves, going back to the confidence piece, well, if we don't have market knowledge, how are we going to have confidence in ourselves? And if we don't have confidence in ourselves when we're speaking, and we're rushing the conversation and we're interrupting the conversation, it's going to be very difficult for our clients to build any sort of trust and rapport with us. When we slow down, it creates a sense of calm with our clients where they can see us as the trusted advisor. When we speak to them, they're going to understand what we're saying, and we're going to be able to uncover their motivations, what's driving their move or driving their purchase. We're going to be able to identify their concerns and what keeps them awake at night. And we're going to be able to define the desired outcomes and what their finish line is. Will Rostron talks about this all the time. People base their buying decisions on emotions and they justify logically. They want to see scarcity, fear of loss, and social proof. People buy and sell homes based on emotions and they justify with their logic. And so when we're having conversations, again, I'm going to reiterate this and you're going to hear more about this in years to come. We have to slow things down and we have to unravel what their emotional reasoning is for buying or selling a home. And the way that we listen is by asking high quality questions that gets them to think and stirs the deepest part of their psychology and their emotions. The dialogue timeline, this is mastering the strategic pause. We want to inquire by asking a high impact question. And then we slow it down and let the silence do the heavy lifting. Let the client process what we're saying or asking of them rather. And they are always going to they're going to reveal their underlying motivations. And then we tailor that alignment with recommendations based on the information that they are giving us. The power of our presentation is found in the pauses, not the pitch. My mentor, Patrick Baldassar, taught me this. When we ask an impactful question in sales, it's really important to pause. And this is a hard skill to master because silence often promotes anxiety within us because we don't like silence. But that silence is an ability, it creates an ability and an opportunity for the client to process so that we can create an effective conversation. So here are this is a toolkit of four high impact questions. Phil Jones wrote this book. Where is it? The Exactly What to Say. This is a great, great, great book to have for your real estate business to help understand better questions. And he gives specific questions in here. And these are some of the specific questions that I ask. These aren't Phil Jones questions. These are my questions that I ask. But number one, what is most important to you? And again, a nice long pause. Let them talk. Don't interrupt them. They will tell you. When you ask them what is important to you in selling your home, is going to give you their motivations of why. It could be because they're moving out of the state, they're downsizing, they're using the equity to buy in a more affordable market. Unfortunately, they might be going through a divorce or they have a family trust and some of the members can't buy the other members out of the trust. Maybe they're in a condo and they have always dreamed to have a single family home and now this is their opportunity to do it. We need to understand why people are buying or selling because when we understand that, we're going to have a better framework of finding that home for them. And another follow-up question is, what does a successful sale look like to you? This defines the victory condition. If their definition of a successful sale, usually it's going to come down to, well, it's going to come down to price more often than not. And their successful sale looks a lot different than what the market's currently representing as a successful sale. We're going to be able to use their idea of a successful sale and back it up with the data, but we can't back it up with that data on the closed and the pending sales if we're not listening to them and we're not speaking with confidence and authority, and we're not giving them market insights that they can trust. We're not going to be able to align on what that successful sale looks like to them if we don't ask the question and we don't instill that confidence and those listening skills to them. And then we want to ask them, have you considered all potential outcomes? What are the outcomes of the sale? What if the home doesn't sell for the price that you want? What does life look like for you? And this gets back to their emotions. We already know that they want to sell the home for whatever reason. And when we ask them this question, have you considered all potential outcomes? This is going to keep them up at night. This is where they're going to have to meet, where the rubber's going to meet the road. And they're going to recognize we need to sell this. And maybe our idea of a successful sale doesn't meet the current reality. And we're going to have to pivot our strategy so that we can be successful at this. And what if we aren't successful at the price we set? Tying it back in. It preempts objections and secures the future pivot point when we have to move as their representation, as their professional, to get that price to where the home's going to sell. And this is the capstone: authenticity as a differentiator. This is your biggest advantage right now in the market. Authenticity is your biggest advantage right now in this marketplace. When you use your personality with your values, it's going to create connection and credibility. And authenticity is simply the conscious decision to drop the sales pitch and be entirely real. Don't sell, be real. I just signed an expired listing. And after I use these techniques to demonstrate confidence and market competency, and to ask these questions and to build trust and rapport, I specifically told those sellers, when they believed that their marketing media wasn't up to snuff and the social media wasn't up to snuff, and they believed that the home didn't sell specifically because of the presentation of the listing, after I spent 45 minutes building trust and they knew that I was confidently assured of myself of what was happening, and I asked the question, what does a successful sale look like? And by the way, how did you come up with your pricing strategy? And was able to tell them not what they wanted to hear, but what they needed to hear, that it was specifically and exclusively based on price that their home hasn't sold. I was able to close them because I was fully capable and very willing to walk away. And I believe right now, because things are challenging in the market, we have lost the ability to be authentic and to be real with people in the fear of loss that we're going to lose the listing or we're going to lose the buyer. I believe it was Gary Keller that said this. at family reunion. He said the best thing you can have as a real estate agent is a full pipeline, and or a full bank account. When we have a pipeline of business and we're not living paycheck to paycheck and are stressed, we have the absolute runway to be authentic with our buyers and sellers because our life doesn't depend on making the transaction. And that is gold right now. Too often, right now in this market, agents are telling sellers that they can get these unrealistic prices for their home so that they can get the listing with the hopes that they can dwindle them down and chase the market downward to have a successful outcome. And we need to tell them up front what the expectations are and how we're going to get that successful sale. And we can't do that if we're telling them a bunch of crap about, yeah, that their home's worth this much. We are past the days of the seller's market. And right now, there's more inventory. Days on market are near 100 days, and buyers have more options. And we need to put the seller in the position of the buyer. If I were representing you to purchase this home, would you pay this much? What would you spend on this? What other options based on the inventory right now do you have with your purchasing power? And when we speak in this behavior, in this framework, we're going to build credibility with them. So let your distinct personality and unwavering values of being truthful and honest serve as your ultimate differentiator in a sea of identical presentations. Another quick story, I had a listing presentation. The sellers were talking to two other agents. Those agents gave them a number that was completely unrealistic, and I told the sellers, you should hire them. And you should hire them because I can't get you that price. This is the price that I can get you. And here's the data that backs it up. And that home went under contract in 2 days because it was priced right. And they understood the credibility that I had because I gave them unwavering data that this is where the home is going to sell for, instead of hoping and praying that this home was going to sell for a price that wasn't supported by the market. The transactional mindset, we have to shift from that mindset to the relational mindset. A transactional mindset focuses on the immediate outcome and commission. It pitches a standardized service package. It talks over the client to prove themselves instead of using the 2 ears we have versus the one mouth we have, and listen to what their expectations are, what their intended outcome is, the big why on why they're making this move, and the goal of winning the listing, where the relational mindset focuses on the lifetime value of the client, the unique architectural blueprint for their sale, and using strategic pauses to uncover truth, with the goal of building relationships over transactions. And we're just going to wrap this up. We're about out of time. Here it is. At the base of this framework, of this architecture, of this bulletproof home, on how we land our ability to win with conversations, is we need confidence and strategy, number one. We need to anchor the relationship. We have to have market knowledge. We have to have exceptional listening skills, and we have to lock the entire place. That we have to lock the home together on this foundation by being completely authentic and completely transparent. The ultimate differentiator is you. Data justifies the price, strategy dictates the timeline, but trust wins the signature. Build relationships over transactions, let your personality create the connection, and your absolute certainty create the close. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week at 9:15.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
That was great.